Skyline Health Diagnostics version 3.5, installation and new features demo. So for the installation of SHD, Skyline Health Diagnostic, we will choose a vCenter version 7.0, and I have a host with 7.0 as well. So I'm going to deploy the OVF or the OVA template. I'm going to upload the OVA that I've downloaded in my local machine. Now we'll click next, and I'll rename the virtual machine name or the appliance name to SHD-3.5. I will choose the host. So we'll click next. This is just a certificate validation page, and I will accept the license agreement. And here I will choose the data store for deployment. I will choose 10 provisioning. We'll go next. And I will leave the network as default. And here I'm going to give the root password for the appliance first. And then I will be providing the SHD-admin user password for the appliance. And this is primarily for the appliance management. Now I will provide the host name details. We'll give it as SHD 3.5, and I will leave the network blank, which means that it's going to pick up DHCP IP address. If you want a static, you will provide a static IP address right there. So we'll click finish, and I will jump to the end of the installation quickly. So there we have, the installation is done. So we'll next power on the appliance that has been deployed, which is the SHD. I will launch a web console for the appliance itself. And then once the deployment is complete, you will automatically see the scripts getting executed by itself. So there is no requirement of any human intervention here. The scripts are automatically going to get generated, and once it is done, you'll have to enter or execute the keystroke control and enter, and then that will bring you to the root credentials login page, and we will log in to the appliance. There you go. Now I will execute ifconfig to validate the IP address, or we can even go back to the UI from the VC itself, and then on the summary page you can, from the virtual machine summary page, you can pick up the IP address. So now let's launch the IP on the browser, and let's log on to the appliance management page. So we will log in using SHD-admin credentials. We'll enter the password. We will accept the end user license agreement, and by default you will have the CEIP which is being enabled. So if you wish to choose it disabled, you can uncheck the box right there, and then you can click on finish. So we are now on the landing page of the SHD management page itself. And from here on, we can move on with the administration part. We will now walk through with some of the cool new features that was launched with SHD 3.5. We will start with vCenter Upgrade PreCheck. For all the environments that are running Vsphere 6.5 and 6.7, who are willing to upgrade to the later version can make use of this new feature. This pre-check helps you diagnose and check for all the known issues with the vCenter server. Let's go through the demo for a detailed review. We will now launch the SHD management page by using the IP address of the appliance onto the browser. And once you're in here, what we want to do is to validate two vCenter. So I have a 6.5 and a 6.7 vCenter. Let's run a pre-check against one of these vCenters and see what will be our result. So you need to select the tab which is Upgrade PreCheck on vCenter server and then enter the credentials. You can go with the FQDN, details of the vCenter itself. And then I'm going to enter the SSO administrator user and the password along with the root password of the vCenter appliance. Once you have this, click on check connection. Post the connection is successful, you can click on run diagnostics. Now it's not going to open up an inventory detail of the VC, it is directly going to execute the diagnostics or the pre-check on the VC directly. So you're seeing the generate log bundle getting executed, and it will end with a run diagnostics and finalize the workflow. So here we go. The analysis is completed. So if you want to look at the reports, you can actually go to Show Reports tab and then validate the current run report. So if you go to Show Reports and select Upgrade PreCheck for vCenter, it's going to filter down only the vCenter PreCheck reports for you. You can click on Save and then save it as HTML. Another quick information here is the analysis type. The VC_UPC stands for vCenter Upgrade PreCheck. You can filter from the Show Reports tab for this specific report, which signifies it is the vCenter Upgrade PreCheck report. Now here's a quick review of how the reports look like. So we have about 33 different pre-checks that the vCenter undergoes with. So it diagnoses both vCenter 6.5 and 6.7 for now. We will see what happens when it checks with vCenter 7.0. So with these pre-checks checked, we get some alerts. So if you see, we are seeing a red alert where it is actually reporting a pre-check runner failure. So there are 3 red alerts that it is captured. So if you scroll down, it is actually going to tell you what is the specific error message for the red alert. In this case, in this scenario, we are seeing a cert SAN check where one or more certificates of the vCenter has no or incorrect DNS subject alternative name. And it's also giving me the KB article for a reference. Now let's scroll up and then actually see what is the overview of this report as well. So you are actually looking at a vCenter Upgrade PreCheck. It's got about 33 different findings, and it always gives you a red, orange and a green status review of all the reports. Now if you see here, there's an orange alert as well where the converge operations may fail, where the converge could not be completed, and you have the issues caused due to the mismatch of the vCenter FQDN in the lookup and the FQDN used by the Vsphere client network call. And you have a KB article for the recommendation there as well. So these are the different pre-checks that the vCenter runs against your 6.7. So we've run it against the 6.7 version right here. You can run the same thing for 6.5 as well. Now let's see what happens if you run this same check or the pre-check against a vCenter 7.0 version. So typically the current build SHD version 3.5 is not supported for a version 7.0, which means that the pre-checks are only applicable for version 6.5 and 6.7. So if you run the pre-check against a vCenter which is 7.0, it's going to throw up an error message stating that it is not supported with this current version. So let's give it a try. So here is a vCenter with 7.0 and you see that it says it is not supported with this feature for this version. Let's now talk about the remote log file upload feature. With this new version, you can upload the log files from the remote FTP or SFTP sites automatically. And offline bundle upload can be more secure. This feature is very useful for dark sites or isolated data centers, where log files cannot be moved out of specific data center locations. You can enable FTP or SFTP from the site, redirecting the logs directly to the SHD appliance. Let's now go through the demo. Let's now select the Upload Bundles tab. Select the protocol where the remote file is located at. Let's say I've put a file on SFTP server for this example, and I will enter the IP address of the SFTP server. The file location should exactly be the full path name along with the file name as well. So in this case, I've given the log file bundle name as TGZ, which is the ESXi host log, and then the username and the password details. And then you can click on download and analyze. Now, once you do this, again, there is no inventory update. It's going to directly pull the logs and then start analyzing and debugging the log data. Let's now talk about the next new feature, which is the Vsphere plugin management. So we now have a UI for SHD that can be managed directly from the vCenter UI page. Let's now go through the demo. So we will now select the settings tab and then launch the Vsphere plugin registration page. So you will land onto a page which states Vsphere plugin management. Click on the plus symbol to add a new vCenter here. So in this case, I'm going to pick up a vCenter 7.0, add the FQDN, enter the username and the password to register a new VC here. So I click on submit. The moment you click on submit, the vCenter HTML login page will see a plugins deployed pop-up. It'll ask you to refresh the browser. And the moment you refresh the browser, you see the VC is also registered here at the SHD management page as well. So you refresh the browser here on the vCenter HTML login page, you will see an additional plugin called Skyline Health Diagnostics. So if you see under the plugins, you will see a Skyline Health Diagnostics icon right now. You can click on that, click on Start Analyze, and then under New Diagnostics, you're going to see a similar view of the inventory of all your VC host. And you can run the diagnostics on a selected host. This is a similar view like the way how you were seeing in the SHD management page as well. And you can enter the credentials of the host itself. And once you have done this, you click on Validate SSH Credential, It's going to run the diagnostics and then complete the report check. SHD with this newer version now has API exposed to automate tasks via external scripts so that the SHD does not need any manual intervention. The API support documentation can be accessed from the Swagger UI of the SHD. Just enter the IP address /API/API schema/Swagger will land you at this page. You can automate tasks like remote log upload through external scripts using the SHD exposed APIs. You can also access the API page via API Explore options from the SHD management page. To summarize, the latest version of SHD is primarily focused on assisting and enabling smooth convergence and migrations of the vCenter. We have more than 1,500 plugins enabled with this latest version. The Upgrade PreCheck run against the vCenter helps in diagnosing the known issues well before the vCenter upgrade to 7.0 is attempted and enabling smoother upgrades too. This now brings us to the end of this video covering all the new features of SHD 3.5. Thank you.